All right. So here's what we're going to do. This is a 1 hour call, and our hope today is to demystify being a team leader. And the goal is once a month on the Thursday, first Thursday of the month, 4 o'clock, we're going to do this call with people, allowing them to kind of get some insight as to what it takes to be a team leader. We're going to be showcasing different types of teams every single month. So this month, we're going to be focusing on teams that do lead generation. But we're also going to try to make sure that you guys get value in seeing what other teams are out there. There's different types of teams out there, and they're all monetized differently, and they all have different expenses. And we're going to go over, the tools that they're doing that are giving the best value, that's giving the best stickiness. They're going to go talk about their biggest mistakes. We're going to talk about the things that make them special, what they're doing to continue that going forward. Before we get started, I want to share with you that you're never going to learn everything from one call, right? And there are tools and resources right now that are available for you guys if you guys are looking in the right places. So the first thing I want you to make sure that you guys understand is we all have access to the world, right? And inside the world, here's the classes that are being offered right now. I just pushed Control F to see what team stuff are available for teams. And you can see there's team building with KB Core, Icon series classes, which are being taught specifically by 6, 7, and 8-figure producers. So anytime you see Icon series, that's somebody who obviously is an iconer. And this one's why you should or why you should not start a team. And you can see that class is being taught. That was back in February. So let me just go back here a little farther up. You got Icon team talks. Should you be a team leader? Multi-millionaire team share. Jennifer Jones just taught a class. I'm a little farther behind on the class. So let me go a little forward. Back into March here. So we've got, anytime you got an agent who's wanting to learn some more about teams, you can kind of go in there and find out what's available. So here's 18 more classes in March being taught. Again, with KB Core. KB Core is taught every single day at 11 a.m. You got classes all throughout the year. My calendar's up there. So that's one thing. Second thing is the Global Alliance calendar. We're going to start putting more classes available in there that you can click on and see recordings in there. This is brand spanking new, the Global Alliance calendar. You can see we've got events in there, and you can kind of get some more information as to what's happening in those events. And what we're going to ask is team leaders, if you're doing something special that you want to share, that you think might be value, you can see the Fire Fridays are in there. We also have accountability sessions. That's there to help you with your team, right? So your team that you're bringing and you're onboarding, adding that to your list of tools and resources that you're offering. Hey guys, every Friday, 8:30 in the morning, we have a special edition with Fire Friday. We also have accountability sessions every Monday. We also have these other things that are available that your team can be taking advantage to as you are developing your team. You're not alone, right? So there's a lot of things out there for your team, but very few things available for us as team leaders. So again, we're going to kind of go over and showcase winning team leaders every single month, the first Thursday of the month at 4 p.m. You'll see that on the Global Alliance calendar, where we can kind of go deep on what's working, what's not working, and what you can do to be profitable. So this month, we are going to be showcasing from Reno, Nevada, not Reno exactly, Reno area, right? Chris, Nevada, a very special friend of mine. We have been traveling the country for a few years now, using the same lead generation, masterminding throughout the country, going doing some magical moments. But he's got an interesting story. I'm sure he's tired of the story. It's kind of like Elton John singing that one song. But Chris, Nevada had a great team with a shitty last name. He had one of those last names that just didn't roll off the tongue that well. In the state of Nevada, your team has to be your last name. So if your name is like Davidowitz, your team Davidowitz. There's no options for that. It is what it is, right? So if you're lucky to have a cool last name, you had a cool team name. But if you didn't, you didn't. So somebody came to him and said at one of the commissions, said, you know what? I think it was Jenny. She's like, you can change your last name. And he sat there and said, So he changed his name to Nevada, and now he's Chris Nevada, and he's the Nevada real estate team, the #1 real estate team in the state of Nevada. So that is our guest co-host today. Chris Nevada, say hello.
What up? What up? I wish you could say Nevada correctly, though. That would be amazing.
That's like people coming down to Florida saying Kissimmee. It's just part of it.
Here's the other thing, too. That's really cool. That I like how you talk, like the accountability stuff you were showing. You're like, it's 8 a.m. That's really awesome. I just want to let you know that's 5 a.m. my time. And there's no way I'm going to get my team up at 5 a.m. This is just not going to happen.
All right. Well, I'll talk to Veronica about replaying that. Fair enough.
Just saying.
All right.
Don't forget about the West Coast people.
Yep, gotcha. Well, now that you've got your banter out of the way, let's go ahead and start talking about how to make money with a team. So first off, tell me a little about your background before you got in real estate.
Yeah, so before I got into real estate, I was in the Navy, 16 years, did that. The last 10 of that 16, I was a Navy recruiter. So as you can see, it probably goes hand in hand with building a team, right? Recruiting. That's why I love EXP, right? So it kind of goes hand in hand. So yeah, before real estate was just military. Was a submarine guy, traveled the world, did a lot of fun stuff, and then went recruiting.
Okay.
And I said, you make no money in the military. So I said, I need a job that you can make a lot of money. And real estate's been really good to me. So
good stuff. So what I'm going to hope to do for you guys is kind of break down the nuggets for you, because sometimes nuggets are said kind of quickly. But one of the things that if you're going to be a team leader, you better just say to yourself right now, I am a recruiter, right? Because there isn't a team that's worth its salt that isn't constantly recruiting. Would you agree with that, Chris?
Oh, totally. You know, and I had a great conversation with my top team members the other day. A lot of people want to go, well, how'd you build your team so fast? Because what Gil didn't tell you guys is I've only been in Reno for 4 years. Before that, I was up in Alaska building a team. And they want to know how I built so fast in Reno. 4 short years, built a 50-man team. We did 700 units last year, 288 million in volume in 4 years. And they're like, well, how'd you do it so fast? Well, I did have a team up in Alaska, multiple places. So there was a lot of failures. So I did learn a lot from that. So when I came to Reno, I didn't step on those exact same landmines, right? I avoided all those mistakes. But talking with some of my top guys at dinner the other night, and anybody asks me about my team, I'm always going to say, I have very talented team members. And we were just a little bit of banter, going back and forth on different things, but something clicked at our conversation. And I want you guys to kind of understand this as you want to build your team. And you'll hear this sometimes where A's attract A's, right? B's can attract B's and C's are just shit, right? C's are, you're not going to get nothing, all right? So when you start thinking about team and you want a team build, think about yourself and what you want to attract and recruit, okay? Because you're going to have to be, it comes down to credibility. You know, what is your background? Why should they join you? What is your value? What's your proposition that you're offering? And if you're not an A and you're a B, then you need to become an A real fast, because you're going to have a hard time recruiting people and bringing people to your team. Especially because if you're a B and you attract an A somehow and they're on your team and they're crushing it and doing really well,
They won't stay.
they won't stay.
Yeah.
Right. They're going to look at you and go, I'm out working you. I'm out hustling you. Right. It's just not going to work. And it goes hand in hand because I bet you in your area, you can think about some weak teams, right? You're like, God, that's a weak team. Probably starts with the team leader, right? Because if you're a C guy and you're recruiting other people, they're most likely C's. So your team's going to be a little weak.
All right, so let's talk about that, because we're not here to pull punches, guys. My goal today is to really add some ridiculous value, and I'm not just talking about some, hey, this is how you build a team. No, I want to offer you, like, here's the things that people are going to talk about. For the first time in the history of real estate, we're actually masterminding and helping each other grow. We're going to give you the real good stuff. So Chris, how do you level up? I've got some stuff in here. I'm a very similar team to you. What do you do to become a better team leader? And by the way, were you the best agent?
Yeah, I was a badass agent, actually.
You were?
My first year. And then I go, how do you fucking do this? And they're like, you build a team. And I went, well, how do you do that? So I was a KW. Well, I wasn't even a KW guy at that time. They said, read the red book, right? The red book, Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. So I did that. But that book's 20, 30 years old now. It's a super old book. The things that are in it are outdated. But they said, build a team. And so I had to do a lot of research. What, best teams out there, best practices. I know, Gil, you were like, well, how do you do this? Like, we mastermind. Like, I'm always better education. Here's a great thing we talk about in masterminds all the time. Are you working on your business or in your business, right? Because people want to know how I built so fast. Well, when I came to Reno, I'm not in production, guys. I haven't done a transaction in 7 years. I don't even know the Nevada state contract. A team member comes to me, I'm like, don't ask me. Ask Tyler, my CEO now. She was my director of ops. But I work constantly 100% on the business, not in it. So there is a transition phase to that. But once you start working on the business, you can rapidly grow super fast.
All right, so let's talk about like what are the things that are when you say on your business, like I don't know, man, I feel like I'm laying down on top of something. Like, what are you doing specific? Give me one or two things that specifically is an example of working on your business.
I will tell you the number one thing. Like I just told you, I'm Tyler. She's my CEO. And there's another EXP guy I love, Dan Beer, right? And I kind of ripped off something he's doing. He likes to call himself the director of marketing now. That's what he does on his team. And I like that because that's really the lifeblood of the team, right? How are you providing value on a daily basis to your team? The number one thing is driving business, and that's leads. So knowing your numbers, right? Knowing the lead generation piece of it, where it's coming from. So a lot of people like to do, I don't care what CRM you're using or what you're doing, you got leads coming in. Here's something that people don't do typically at a high level when you're running your team is calling your account manager every single month and going through all your keywords, especially for internet leads, right? What's working, what's not. Every month I do it. And at month after month after month, you're going to start dialing that in because when you see certain keywords are like $20 per lead and you see other ones that are $10 per lead, well, I can get twice as many for the $10. I'm going to cut that other keyword out. Well, I just potentially could double the amount of leads that can come in, right? So you're upping your business. So a lot of people just do a set and forget it. You don't want to do something like that. You really want to dive into the business and go, what's working, what's not working. So I'm going to
Okay, so working on your business is understanding your numbers, right? What's coming in, what's coming out? Is it still effective? Is the plan that I started with still the same plan, right? And I'll give you an example in the Orlando market. A lot of agents will come in there, they'll buy a CRM and they'll buy leads in like one of the places like Orlando, right? And Orlando is like a major market. And the reality is there's a lot of people competing against that space, right? So if you're going to buy leads, you're going to want to make sure that you're buying leads in places that you're going to be able to be competitive. For example, one of the markets in my market that you probably never heard of, Chris, is called a COE, and I dominate in that market space, right? It's a market in between markets, and it allows you make sure that you guys are actually targeting some of these actual subdivision names, actual district names, right? I mean, all of us have like little areas like Hamlin and like Baldwin Park. Make sure you're just targeting them. Don't target freaking zip codes. We're not in the mailman business. I see people do that all the time. They just target one big city, few zip codes, and they're like, okay, leads come in. And the problem with that shotgun approach is like you're never going to go into deeper neighborhoods. It's going to be tough. You're getting a very broad scale lead. Make sure that you're going in for a lead and you're measuring whether you're getting results out of that. Go in there every single month, talk to your account manager. I don't care if you're using Boomtown, Commissions Inc., Follow Up Boss. Make sure that you're getting a result for your numbers. And probably the biggest thing you said for me there, Chris, is know your numbers. Talk to me more about that.
Well, I want to chime in what you were just talking about, though. So we call that hyper local, right? Zillow and Realtor.com cannot compete with us on a hyper local level. They don't know our neighborhoods. They don't know our subdivisions. You can go into Google and type something in. Pretty much they're not going to show up for those words. They show up for the big keywords, and those big keywords are going to be the highest paid leads that you're going to have to pay for. That hyper local stuff, at least in my town, and we're about 500,000 people. If I go to certain subdivisions, I might be the only one, or it might be one other person. So instead of paying 10, 15 bucks a lead, I'm paying $3 a lead. And by the way, hyper local, when you're going for those leads, they are 1,000% better for quality, right? That's someone literally typing in that neighborhood they want to live in.
Right.
They already know where they want to live.
Right.
If someone's typing in like Reno homes for sale, it's a very general, broad thing. And they're like, I don't know where I want to live. I just know I'm moving there. I'm in the very beginning of my search.
Right.
But that hyper local stuff, guys, way, way, way better for quality of leads.
All right. So again, to drill that down, that would be like picking up and say, hey, I'm going to be an expert, not in the Conway market. I'm going to pick a neighborhood inside like Belle Isle, or I'm going to pick one of those smaller areas and make sure that I'm popping up and becoming a major force in that market. And those markets end up being spill out markets, right? So you have in your market places that we wouldn't know, like Middleton and things of that nature that are, other areas. If somebody's searching for those cities or they're searching for a specific neighborhood, they're farther inside of that curve that every buyer has to kind of go through, every seller has to go through before they're ready to make that decision when they're really choosing down. So make sure you're spending your money properly, right? For some of you guys, you're going to start a budget with $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, right? Like, and I was always taught every dollar has to have a first name and a last name. The first name is what I'm spending. The last name is what is paying me back. Right. So make sure you're conscious that everything makes you money. Even your admins make you money. Everything you put money on has to have a last name, has to pay you back. So, by the way, you mentioned the Red Book, which was a really great book during its time. I don't know if, Chris, you're a big reader. Any books that you would recommend for team leaders who are just getting started?
I don't know, man. I have so many different things. Just through our masterminds that someone will recommend and stuff. I also am looking over here because I have a lot of them right here. I love the 10X.
Me too.
Grant's great on that one. I don't know. There's not one book that's going to give you like the magical answers, right? It's just a mindset. So that's why I don't read. I do the audibles. I just plug and play and let's listen to them. Speed it up a little bit faster, 1.25.
Yep. So let me recommend. Let me recommend one for 10X, because like a lot of people recommend books, and I'm like, I always want to know why, right? So the 10X book is often misunderstood. Grant Cardone is kind of a character, and most people like him or love him or hate him, right? But here's why you want to read the 10X book. The 10X book is designed to expand you, right? So what would it take you? Well, first off, what would your business? Let's just say you're doing 100 deals right now, and you're like, okay, I want to see like what's 10X? I got to do 1,000 deals. You start thinking to yourself, well, dude, 100 deals are hard enough. Maybe you're doing 10 deals, right? And you want to get to 100 deals. Well, who do you have to become? What do you need to invest in? What people do you need to have around? What do you need to leverage? Where do you start answering some deeper questions? Like, well, if I was going to build a team that's going to do 1,000 deals a year, well, that would mean I would have to do 80 deals a month. Well, how many people would I have to do if they're averaging 10 deals a month? I mean, 10 deals a year, right? Well, maybe I need 80 people on my team. 80 people on my team to do 10 deals a month, or maybe I need 40 that are going to do 20, right? So this project of the 10X rule, this concept of the 10X rule, where you're going to start scaling and literally writing things down and getting a piece of paper, is like, if I was going to do this, how would I do it? What would have to happen? What skills, what books do I need to read? Who do I need to mastermind with? I personally masterminded. Like, there was two places I went to. I went to NAEA, National Association of Expert Advisors, which, by the way, if you're in the Honey Badger Nation, you can go into NAEA's files and pull out some of the resources they've got that can help you build a team. I went to Sync Commissions Inc., every summit, every single one of those. And I learned, and I sat down and I made sure, I was like, hey man, give me a nugget. What are you doing? Right. So that brings me to my next question. Chris, is there outside of your CRM, is there any other tools, resources that you use that you think have definitely contributed to the bottom line, technology wise?
I mean, there's a lot of different technology that I use. I wouldn't say one of those. I mean, it all comes down to your CRM, and I don't care which one you use, right? Everybody's probably heard that before. You just use it. As I've progressed with my team, I've learned that some CRMs become outdated very quickly for the options and the things that I need them to do. You know what I mean? I am an internet lead generator. That's what I'm known for. That's what I do. I like to gamble, and I love internet leads because it's slightly gambling, but it's also math. It's very simple math, right? Facebook leads, 1% conversion rate, right? Google, 2%. The portal leads, you're looking anywhere from probably like 7 to 10% conversion rate, depending on how good you are. So it's all simple math. And when I'm spending dollars and doing that stuff, I'm working on internet leads. Now, I do dabble in a lot of other stuff. I do buy shiny objects because I'm always like, I want more leads. I want a bigger team. I am playing around right now, and I'm pretty happy with the results so far, especially for listings. I'm playing around with street text. It's a very plug and play system. It's Facebook ads. I'm only using it for sellers. It captures, even if someone clicks on it and they put their house in there and they're like, oh shit, they want the rest of my information, I still get their address. And then my guys are backtracking them all and calling them and talking to them. And so that's another way to get listings right now.
And that technology was called street text?
Yeah, street text. And
Okay.
I even have it open. I think it's like streettext.com.
Cool.
Pretty inexpensive. They make the ads for you. They have hundreds of ads in here, and they actually tell you what the conversion rates are. You set it for like $10 a day, and they run their ads, and they're pretty effective. I've been pretty happy with them so far.
And I think you said 1% for Facebook, 2% for Google, 10% for portal. right?
We'll go with the 7 to 10 on the portals, right? It kind of depends. And I'll tell
And
you guys,
just for the confused spaces, what does portal mean?
Zillow and Realtor.com.
Okay. That's where somebody else is calling those leads and setting up appointments for you, right?
Correct.
Okay.
You know, those that's someone going, you guys got to understand Zillow and Realtor.com, that's someone's going to their websites and then they're raising their hand saying, please call me, I want help, right? Those are the best leads you can get. I mean, it's no different than your websites. There's numbers on your website. I don't care which one you're using. You can set it up so that it's forced registration or not forced registration, right? So when my team is prospecting and going into our system, I always tell them, why are you not calling the portal leads first? Those are the guys that are raising their hand, right? Those are the first ones I would be calling. The second one I tell my team to call are organic Google, okay? And those are people that are finding your website organically, a blog, whatever you may do. I do a lot of stuff, YouTube, different things. Those are the next best leads you should be working on and calling, right? And then it's our pay-per-click stuff. So just working smarter.
Do you have a percentage for YouTube conversion?
No, I would say that we don't get enough in. Typically, I spent some money about 2 years ago, about 50,000, and I did 70 neighborhoods in my area, all professionally overwritten, drone, all that stuff. And so I get a lot of traffic coming in through that stuff there. They typically find it, they click on the link, they come to the website. So I wouldn't say there's a strong thing for conversion rate for that stuff. All right. Also, I would also say on YouTube, they're actually at least they're more calling and saying, "Hey, I saw your YouTube video.
Right.
I want to live there." So,
all right. One of the questions that always gets asked in these type of situations, and by the way, guys, feel free to put the questions in the chat, and I'll try to hit as many as I can. Mike, I'm counting on you to continue to let people in the room. I see there's a few people waiting there. Let's talk about splits. Lead generation team, what do your splits look like?
Hold on, Gil, you do have a question in the chat. So do you want me to moderate that or?
No, just let people in the room.
That's happening. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, splits. I will tell you guys for the last 4 years, I was strictly 50-50 on my team. I just changed at the beginning of the year and I moved those for various reasons. Realtor.com did a big change for me, super expensive stuff. And I basically had to ask the team, here's the deal. For us to afford to do this and make sense, we're going to have to change some splits around. And I also, being here 4 years now, guys, I have some more seasoned people that are on my team. Okay. And as you become seasoned on the team, you're not really calling as much as you used to. And so I have a pretty wide range of different sources and what those leads look like. But basically, it ranges from 35 to 65% for my team.
Okay. So let's break that down.
Yeah, the little 35% is for the portal leads, the Realtor.com, the Zillow stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, what I do with my team, though, is if they close one of those, yeah, it's 35. But if they come back again as a past client, then it's a 50-50 split. So I'm trying to incentivize them to stay in touch with their past client, love on them, and get them back again. And that's a win for me. It's a win for them.
Okay.
All Google leads are 50-50. I allow my agents to do sellers. They pay for their lock boxes. They pay for their signage, the photos they pay for all that. And I split seller leads 50-50 with them.
Okay. And Chris, I've never known you to be a super patient person, but how patient are you with somebody who's just getting onboarded? And how much rope do you give somebody?
I give them about 90 days. Within 90 days, you're going to know if someone's going to make it or not. For my team, if someone can do one deal a month, I'm good with it. However, I did make a joke yesterday in my team meeting. If you're in my first line and you're a qualifier, you probably get a little extra rope, right? I need you to do a deal every 180 days. So you probably get to stick around a little bit longer. You're not going to get the best of the leads, but you get to stick around.
All right, so let's talk about the whole best of leads. So certain leads go to certain people. You're running the pond system. Talk to me more about that.
Yeah, so I run a pond system. I have several ponds. And basically, when we start talking about Zillow and Realtor.com type of leads, I'm going to give those to my more senior people that are closing up. Doesn't mean someone brand new doesn't have an opportunity. I had a 23-year-old. She was amazing. She came on the team 6 months ago, right out of the gate. It took her the first month and she pinned 6 deals, right? and she was crushing it left and right, just pulling these deals normally out of the pond. Well, she was crushing so fast. I'm like, here, let me give you some good stuff. And now she's on all the stuff, right? So you don't want to just take a brand new person, unproven, not good, right? And now they're taking your highest dollar leads and screwing it up, basically, right? And so I'm very cautious before we hand it to it. So I do things on the team where we have agent levels. And so they need to progress. And once they progress to a certain level, they get more access. So, I mean, that's a whole nother subject with just agent levels, right? I pay for maid service. They get a dream car allowance. They get an assistant. They get a tech allowance. They get a fashion allowance. They get a bunch of stuff on the team. They have to post it on social media. It helps for attraction, right? We get a lot of people like, holy shit, that's what your team gives? I want to join your team. We also do a lot of social media stuff, so we do a lot of great fun stuff with all that. But you're not going to be a brand new agent and just, oh, here you go, right? But I have a giant pond of unclaimed leads, about 18,000. So there is Zillow in there. There is Realtor.com. Those are things that we didn't get a hold of. So they still have opportunity. They're just not going to get first at bat with that stuff.
Gotcha. So let me ask you a question. I get this a lot. We're going deeper on the split portion. My lead, your lead, does it matter to you? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's very cut and dry, basically. All the leads are my leads, okay? And when someone says, I can't believe I'm giving you 50%, whatever percent, I'm like, no. I'm giving that to you, okay? I love when someone wants to join my team and they want to talk about splits. Just to let you know, guys, if anybody joins your team and within the first 30 minutes, that's what they're asking about, what's your splits? That's not the right person for you, okay? Because they'll always be like that. They're always going to be like, someone will always be able to entice them and pull them somewhere else because of a bigger split, right? But I always tell them this, someone will ask about a split. I go, well, they go, I want a bigger split of my stuff. I'm like, cool. What would you like on yours? And they go like 75%. I'm like, awesome. I could probably do that, but then I want 75 on my stuff. And then they go, oh, no, right? And so for me, I will tell you this, I only take pretty much brand new agents, or I take agents that have been on previous teams. My top 10 my top 10 are my best team members that were on previous teams, right? Because they were treated bad. They weren't given a lot of leads. They weren't taken care of. So I always take those guys. I love those guys. But if I always have an agent fail, if they've been in the business for over 2 years and they've been a traditional real estate agent, they always fail. They're not willing to call. They're not willing to do the work. They were so used to a friend or family handing them a deal, right? And so here's another great analogy I do with someone that's talking about splits. I'm like, do you want 100% of a grape, or do you want 50% of a watermelon? Like, which one do you want? The other line I'll use is, how much money do you want to make, right? And everybody always says 100,000.
Right.
Then you go, does it matter what the split is if I show you how to make 100,000?
Yep.
Okay, because I do have something here, guys, like I'm happy to share and give out, is I have a $100,000 guarantee on my team, right? It's a $100,000 guarantee, or I'll make up the difference. And it's a nice form. I have a Excel spreadsheet. I think, Gil, you probably have it too, right? One of the
I have it, yeah. I've actually run it with 5 agents. And the beauty behind it is kind of like I'll sell your house for, or I'll buy it, right? Like, there's always an asterisk and there's parameters, and, there's people who are always going to take on that deal. Like, I'll bet I'll take it. But, the reality is that they very rarely do. Like, I've never had to pay out on it. I can tell you that. Have you?
Like, me either. They never finish. They never do the work that's necessary, right? Like, it's like simple stuff, guys. 200 calls a week, updating your CRM. You have to do like 4 or 5 things. If you do those things, I'm good with it.
Pretty easy to make, right? If you do
it's super easy. Actually, they're going to make, in my market, our average is like 500,000. They'll make like 200 grand, right? I'm so confident I actually raised mine to 120,000 guaranteed, or I'll make up the difference.
Yeah.
I actually had someone that was joining my team, and he's like, well, what about this 3 months in? If I miss it one time, I'm like, listen, if you're doing all these things 3 months in, you're gonna stop doing these or churning all your reports in, because within 3 months, you're already going to see yourself almost at 100,000.
Right.
Remember I talked about that girl that joined my team 6 months. She's only been on my team 7 months now. In January, she made 45,000 just in that 1 month alone, like by doing all those right things. So when I don't know, so when people want to know about splits, there's various ways to do it. Here's my only thing I would caution everybody on. And I know Gil, you do some stuff. I'm like, but you have to be very, very cautious and careful of giving too much on the sphere. Okay. If you give too high on the sphere split, they will never work your business.
I actually don't differentiate sphere on my team. It's your split, my split, doesn't matter. And the reason why I did that was because I didn't want to be unfair to the agent. I felt it was unfair for me to like have to ask you, like, well, is that your deal or is that my deal? Like, I don't want to my coaching is not going to be dependent on whether that lead came from Google or from your fucking neighbor. So like, and there's no way for me to differentiate versus like, how did you get that neighbor? Is because of the coaching call that we had today where I taught you how to do this. I'm going to teach you how to get more sphere, right? I don't care. I'm going to teach you how to get a lot of sphere, right? My goal is to get you as many deals as possible. If you're not going to be great on my leads, you're going to be great on marketing. A lot of my team does open houses regularly. We go out and do new construction regularly, where I teach them how to do text message calls. So I don't care if it's your lead or my lead. It doesn't matter. I just want you to do as many deals as possible.
So that, guys, and me and Gil go to a lot of masterminds, and you'll see everybody's a little bit varied on it. And it's not going to be one right answer for everybody. It's going to depend on your team, the makeup of your team, and then what you're comfortable with too. So it's not.
I will tell you this: there is a business decision as a CEO of the team that you're going to have to make. If you met somebody, and let's say their husband's a builder and they're going to do 50 deals a year, and it's all going to sphere, right? I'll take a lesser fee on that if all your business is going to come from your sphere anyway, right? So in the end, it's going to be your business decision. Again, this is a mastermind. This is an opportunity for you to hear out loud how two guys are doing their business. So you can say, hey, that works for me, or it doesn't work for me. But I want you guys to kind of hear, some key stuff. And this is, hopefully this has been valuable so far, because the reality is nobody ever did this for us. I can tell you that we're kind of like lone rangers. So our goal as a global alliance is have 50 more people on the call next month that are team leaders throughout the country, and bring people in that are doing things in different markets and actually winning, right? So let me ask you this question, Chris, because I think that another challenge that some people they have with team leaders is that they don't know how to build. They don't know how to build the culture. So tell me more about. You started to talk to me about the culture portion, which for me, outside of recruiting, culture is probably the second. Like the leads are like third and fifth on the priority, guys. Right? If you're being a lead generation team, the number one thing is recruiting. Number two is culture. Number 4 or 5 is maybe the actual leads, right? But too many people try to put that first, and it's not. So tell me more about your culture.
Yeah, the culture is super important, and you guys have to protect it at all costs, by the way. And that was probably one of my lessons learned coming from Alaska and having multiple teams. I didn't understand the culture piece, right? And so you have to super protect that culture. I can tell you over the last couple of years, there have been many people that have showed up on my team, and they have been very productive people, pending 3, 4, or 5 deals a month, but they were just cancer, right? Doing crazy stuff. I could tell you some crazy things, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And you have to decide what you want your culture to look like, and then you have to decide how you're going to shape that and what's going to be acceptable and what's not. And nothing's better than getting rid of some cancer in your team, right? Even if they're making you money, even if they're productive, it's not worth it in the long run. You have to get rid of it.
So how would you what word would you use to describe your culture?
Describe mine?
Yeah.
I mean, shoot. I mean, it's really family, right? I was big time family. Like everybody will bend over backwards for anybody, right? On the team. No one's taking advantage of somebody. No one's doing something shady or crazy, right? No one lies to someone on the team. Like we're all completely honest. If someone's doing some of those shady things or no integrity, those are the people that you get rid of. Those aren't people that you want on board. But I would say it's, family's probably the easiest thing to say in like one word. Go
deeper, because I think that this is something that if it's so important, we need to define it even more.
Well, it's almost I can tell you for my team, it's a hard thing to kind of describe? Because here's how it works, guys. It's like as you're building your team and you're defining what your team culture to be and what your core values are, right? When you start defining all those things, as you start adding more people, there might be some shifts and some changes into the culture. Not bad changes, it's good stuff, right? It's just as a collective, more people they make the culture better, right? And so they're adding it into the whole thing. I don't know, man. As far as describing it, that's a good.
Yeah, I think
I've described it before, right? But
my culture's changed many times, right? So in the beginning, my culture was I wanted to make money with friends, and I ended up inviting some people that I really liked on the team, and they were just people I liked. And I'll be honest with you, it seemed cool at first, but it wasn't my purpose as a team leader, right? My purpose as a team leader now is I want to help people grow. I want people to grow mentally, spiritually, financially. So I have more of a growth model where I spend time helping them, reach their goals. So, I try to get an assessment of like, what would make you happy? Like, what's the things that you're struggling with right now that we could look at next year and say, yep, those things we're going to create new problems. Like everybody's going to have problems. Everybody's going to have stress, but let's choose what stress we want. And let's make sure that we're growing every single year. And like, you're personally accountable to that, right? These people are looking for you to be their leader, right? And you've got to have some place that you're going to lead them. I would make sure that you have an honest assessment with yourself and where are you leading them to? Because it cannot be to a CRM. It cannot be to lead generation. It cannot be to putting something in SkySlope. If that's what it is, they're going to get tired of that. There's got to be something that you're going to that they're going to put their heart on and say, that's my guy, right? And they're going to walk in the room with some pride. So think about what your culture should be like, right? Because it should be kind of a cult. Your team should be a little bit of a cult. They should want to follow you into the fire, right? And I can tell you, I've met some of your team, Chris, and they definitely have that. And I would say that, one of the things that you pride yourself on, and I was trying to hope you were getting it out, is you really try to take pride in helping them create magical moments. Like, you travel with your team, like you're taking your team to Cabo. Like, do you take just the top 3 or who do you take?
Yeah, so we have various contests with my team. You know what I mean? I can tell you that we kind of revamped it this year just to make it make more sense. Because here's how I am, guys. Every day I wake up and try to give value to my team. I'm like, what can I do? What more can I do? Another thing that's going to keep your team members is giving the ability of growth, right? That goes hand in hand with value. So the more value you give, the more growth you're giving someone. And by the way, it can be growth in whatever, personal and business, okay? But all that stuff. But I do multiple contests, and I got Tyler over here, my CEO, just gonna laugh. But every time I make a contest, we do Cabo here a lot. Well, if I didn't get enough people to win that contest for that quarter, I'm like, oh, let's do another one and another one. Because I want as many team members to go with me as I can. So we're bringing 32 in April, right? We're gonna have a great time and have a lot of fun. But this year I kind of changed it up a little bit. I basically said, hey, everybody that makes 100,000 gets to go. If you made 150,000 plus, then you get to bring somebody with you, like family member, sister, whatever. You know what I mean? But
right, so let's talk. How do you afford that? How do you put systems in that? And what's your transaction fee?
That's a lot of questions. How do I afford Cabo? Well, I mean, team does it well, right? I mean, I hate to say it, that's coming out of my own pocket, right? But once again, it's group rate, group stuff. Like, right? I'm gonna call the airlines. Hey, what can you do for tickets? What can you do for the hotel? Remember, it's all inclusive, right? So I make sure it's like, cool, food, drinks, everything's covered. I mean, so what does that really come down to? I don't know, maybe $1,500, $2,000 a person. But these are your top performers anyway, right?
Right.
Pennies.
Not a big number, right?
Not in the big scheme of things, real small, right? And now you're giving this awesome experience. And like this year, we're bringing 2 of their front desk girls because they're going to take pictures and video, and we're going to document it and keep it. And by the way, guys, because we're all EXP, that's an attraction event, right? That's like, we're going to come back. I guarantee you this, guys, in my town, everybody follows me and my team, everybody. And we're going to put it on social media, and they're going to go, what? For what? Pennies on the dollars, basically, for that, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So
now, you said transaction.
In your budget, you're putting it aside and saying, I'm going to spend anywhere between $1,500 to $3,000 per agent per year for culture. Would that be right?
Oh yeah, easily, if not more, right? Because we have so many other events. Now, other events, yes, I offset that with my preferred lender, right? They're our platinum sponsor for a lot of events. and you ask for your transaction fee, we pay $6.95 per transaction. That's what we do here. So, but that $6.95, that
You charge that $6.95 above the fee that EXP charges?
yeah, that goes right to us. And that's our admin fee. That's so that I can provide, director of ops, social media. I have 2 TCs. Like you start adding those pieces to it. And guys, I didn't start at $6.95. I think I started I think it was like $3.95, $2.95, I forget. And then every year as we got bigger and we added more staff and more people, right? But you guys can do the quick math on $6.95 times 700, right? Adds up. It is a good number. So to pay for your admin and to give, once again, right, giving more value to your team.
Yeah. And that's
right?
guys, and that's above and beyond whatever transaction fees you're charging in your market, above the broker fee, above the insurance. You've got to have a fee that you're collecting in addition to that, right? I can tell you, unfortunately, I've got somebody on my team on this call right now who's aspiring to be a team leader. I don't see her now, but we're going to raise our fee to $5.95. That's a must. But the thing is like, there has to be a vision why. Well, what is the team going to get as a result of this, right? So if I would ask you, Chris, it was like, what are your first, second, and third hires that you're making as a team leader?
Well, I'm not very traditional, but definitely your admin person is going to be your number one, right? That's how you leverage yourself and do more. I can just tell you that my TC is invaluable, right? I don't want to do all that paperwork. Most of the top tier agents don't want to do all that, right? You need to leverage that piece out so that you can do more business. And then you're adding your buyer specialists. You're adding those guys. If you're building your team right now, the listings are going to be the last piece that you give up. And that's never changed, right? And that will be the hard part. Here's another thing I'll tell you guys. The hard part for most agents to build a massive, great team is giving up control. Most people can't give up control, right? They're control freaks. They believe that no one can do it better than them. So if you can't get over that hurdle, you're going to have a very hard time building a team. You just will. It's a limiting belief. I promise you, there is someone that can handle your buyers better than you can. I guarantee it. There is someone that can do a listing better than you can. Okay. There's better people than you at one specific task. They may not be better than you in the whole scheme of things, right? But when you start doing these specific things, there's different people better than you are. And you have to let go of that control.
And by the way,
you let go of that control, you'll see magic happen. You really will.
By the way, there are probably better people that can teach people on your team the contract. There are probably better people on your team that can teach people the sky slope. There are probably better people on your team that can teach someone how to convert, right? So as you start developing leaders on your team, and it's super important, I always say it's like, find somebody you can build with, right? Even if you're starting with a team of 1 or 2 people, like pour into that person. And I will tell you this, plan to lose money in the beginning, right? Because you're going to invest in that person, and that deal that was yours, you're going to give it to somebody else. And maybe you're 50-50 with that person. And you're thinking to yourself, well, shit, I could have made 100% on that deal. Right. And if you're thinking of that person the same way Chris mentioned in the beginning, if an agent's talking to you about that split, if you're a team leader and you're thinking to yourself, man, by giving this agent this deal at 50-50, I'm losing 50, you're probably not right fit for be a team leader either. And that I hate to say that because that's probably gonna hit somebody in the mouth, but like, if you are stuck on, I have to make the deal, like you don't have the right mindset. You've got to think to yourself as like, well, if I'm going to be a rainmaker, if I'm going to be a recruiter, if I'm going to be the marketing person, I can't also be the person running the deals. Right. So, so the question from Patty, you're a leads team only. What's the difference between all that you provide versus a traditional team? And what do you provide for your team besides leads? It's a lot of answers in that question.
Yeah. What was the question? I mean,
it's in your chat. I can't read that again.
Yeah. Your leads team only. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say we're just a lead team only. I mean, that was how it kind of started, just because it was a new area, didn't know anybody, right? Show up to town, like, what am I going to do? But internet leads is what I'm very, very good at. Getting that cost down, making it effective, right? And I don't know what a traditional team would be. Like, there's all types of crazy ass teams out there, right?
Yeah, next month we're going to do either a geo market team when it does not buy leads at all. But my goal is every single month to bring different types of teams, because through that you're going to find out and you're going to learn like what your team could look like, because leads teams aren't for everybody. I will tell you, like, it's a different animal. The one thing that Chris, and I don't know what the answer is, Chris, like I will tell you the answer to my question. Like my team is only 40%. 60% of my deals come from the leads. 40% of my deals come from different sources, their personal sources, their own,
like Sphere or whatever.
Yeah,
I would definitely say as time has gone on for us, but I would still say I'm pretty heavy. I would still say we're, 80-20, 70-30. I'm still very high on the internet lead side of the house.
Yeah, right? I'm only 60%. Only 60% of my deals come from the leads. 40% of it comes from different sources.
But, and I know, Gil, you have a different model too, where you want your people to kind of graduate and do different things, right?
Yeah.
And so, and we in our masterminds, I've also seen different things where you have to decide what you want to shape and make your team look like, right? But I will tell you this: if you're teaching your team Sphere and how to generate and do that, you're basically teaching them how to fish.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that, but you do have to understand that eventually that person will leave you.
Yep.
Right. You're going to sit there and compliment everything. However, with the EXP's model, I love it. Right. I'm like, that's cool. Thank you. I'm glad
I've always been, and it's funny because Jennifer's on this call too. I've always been one to kick people off. Like, okay, you've been with me long enough, kick you out of the nest. And like I'm trying to create leaders. That's kind of what I'm into doing. Like I will tell you, before I became this leader, my team mentality, and I will be very frank with you guys, I'm gonna be super honest with you guys. My goal was, if I could hire a person, they did 6 deals a year, right? And I was investing $500 a month per person that was on my team, which was, that wasn't a lot of money, but that's how much I was investing on leads anyway. That leads that cost me was 500 times 12 was $6,000. I was gonna make, if they did 6 deals, I made $12,000. I made money. So I was making basically, 50%. And to me in the beginning, that was good, but I was a C player. And I love the fact that Chris mentioned that. I was trying to attract specifically C players that were going to do 6 to 8 deals a year. And here's what I found out about 6 to 8 deals a year. They're never going to want to create their own team. So you're okay with that. You have some security on there. They're going to be happy that they made 6 to 8 deals. They're going to be happy to be on the team, but they're never going to leave. And then what happens is, and this is what it took me years to realize, this is super, super important, is that the people that are going to be interested in you are going to look at your team and they're going to say, well, that's what your team produces. I don't want to be part of that. Your B players are going to look at your team and they're like, oh, you have C players on your team. I don't want to have to be part of that. Now, if you have B players on your team, they're going to think the same thing. And when you have A players on your team, they're like, oh shit, I want to be part of that. So every year, like, I'm really trying to focus on helping one person grow, right? I want to help, a few people just get way more than themselves out of what they thought they could do, right? I've got a young lady on my team who, like, we very rarely even see on my team. She did 11 million last year and she never had a job in her entire life. So you can help somebody get their growth. And I will tell you, like, I always want to caution you about holding people accountable. Like, a lot of people go to these sessions and they're like, oh, I got to hold people accountable. And I'm very cautious about that word. For me, accountability means that you're worried about your account. You're worried about the ability of those people to put money into your account. And you keep doing that long enough and people are going to realize that you're not genuinely interested in them, right? So, like, when I hear questions about how long will I give somebody, I'm generally pretty patient. I give people a lot of room. I always say this: if you do the work, I have infinite patience in you, right? Like, infinite. If you do work, like, it's my fault that you're not producing. But if you don't do the work, then you can't expect results. It's not my fault. And then I'm not firing you. You're just going to end up going on your own, because what happens is they're going to see other people grow and they're going to see there's a separation between people that came in their boot camp and their classes. And it's going to be a wide margin, right? When they've done 0 deals and this person does 9 already in a 3 to 6 month period, they're going to be like, okay, I'm ashamed. I'm not doing the work. I'm not going to take a spot. And I always talk about that on my team. It's like, like, we're hiring. We're always hiring. And because of you, Chris, you fucked me up last year. I was very happy with my 15-person team. Yeah. And you're like, dude, you want to do more business? You need more people. And I'm like, well, how many more people? You need 40. I'm like, fuck. So now I have 35. Thank you. On my team, and I'm going to hire 10 more, and then I'm going to fire 5.
Yeah. It's top grading is what it comes down to. And here's an awesome thing, guys. And what Gil was talking about is every morning, my team's so big now, we do fun stuff, right? So I take my 50 people and we divide them up into 4 teams every quarter, and we have contests basically. So my top 4 guys from last quarter, they're going to be my team leaders, and they do a schoolyard pick. We do like an NFL snake draft, right? And they draft other guys, and everybody, they have in workplace chat guys, they have their own teams, they have their own private stuff. It's awesome. And they all push each other. They're all helping each other. So it's almost like, was that?
I'm totally running a squadron. We're
it's awesome. You'll get people pumped up, excited.
So they do a draft day and they pick their people on the balance.
Exactly. Now here's the secret though. Well, Gil, let me help.
What'd you give them?
First. Let me help you with this one because I screwed this up in the beginning.
I'm writing it down.
We started doing it. We had like 40 people. We kind of lined them up like a schoolyard pick. The problem is the people that got picked last were like, they're so fucking pissed. They're like, what? So we just take the 4 team leaders down. We do in the conference room, we just do our pick. And then we put out the teams and they get to name it.
So you're not lining them up against the wall anymore?
No. It didn't end up too well. That really hurt some people's feelings. So
I'm still doing it.
You know what I mean? And so, it was a lot of fun. And then they get to name their teams, like stupid names, like Eric's Elite, Aaron's Assassins. And we send that out every single morning. And this goes back to what Gil was talking about, though. When somebody's not performing and they're not doing their job, they're listed every morning on an email. They can see that they're at 0, they're at whatever. What ends up happening, guys, I'll tell you, which is the best feeling. I've never had someone ever quit my team and blame me for anything, not once. They always come in, and I like to call it deselect. They deselect themselves. And they go, hey, I just want to let you know it wasn't you, it was me. And you guys don't know me that well, Gil does, but I'm always like, yes, it was. All right. You didn't take the coaching, you didn't show up to shit. You didn't even try. You didn't ask for help. Like right now, you can't see my board over here. So I keep track of my numbers over here. I have 39 prospecting agents currently on my team. And out of those 39, 13 do 1.5 deals or better. And I have 8 that have been on my team greater than a year, less than 1 deal per month. And that's our team standard. And I basically said, if you wrote 0 last quarter and you don't have me 3 pinnings by March 31st for the first quarter, you will be asked to leave. And I say that every week at our team meeting. They know it's coming up for those people. But what's amazing is some of them are stepping up and then some of them aren't. Like I have multiple coaching stuff, personal growth. I have coaching. There's coaching throughout the whole month. And then I have a sales manager that puts on basic stuff for them. And we take attendance. I just want to know who's trying and who's not trying. So that when I do let them go, they had all this opportunity and they didn't do it. They didn't step up for it. So
all right. I want to make one point for those people who I can see it in your eyes. It's like, dude, I don't have a 40-person fucking team, right? And I don't know how I would ever even get to a 40-person team. And I want to let you guys know, it's almost easier to run a 40-person team or a 25-person team than it is a 5-person team. And I'm gonna give you a personal example. As many of you guys know, I have 6 children, right? 2 sets of twins, right? I have 6 fucking kids. I'm looking at Jennifer and she's having a hard time with her fucking 2 kids, right? And the reason why is because you think if you have 2 kids and you're having trouble right now, you have 2 people on your team, that having 10 people on your team is that many times harder, right? And you're multiplying the degree of difficulty based on how many children you have on your team, right? So that's not true. It's a lie. It's never been true. What happens is as you start growing your team, you're going to have captains and sergeants and generals that are going to be able to help you. And it actually, I'm not going to say it gets easier, but it's not exponentially harder, okay? And as you start growing, you have more resources. So now you can do more of those cool shits, right? Like I'm probably going to give away a Tesla next year for an agent on my team, right? And why? Why not? It's going to cost me what, $500 a month for $800 a month for a Model 3 or something like that. Well, guess what? I'm also going to raise the transaction fee. I'm also going to have more people on my team, right? And guess what that car is going to say? Gil Ramos Expert Advisors Team car winner or some shit like that, right? And that's going to be marketing. And I'm going to write that shit off my taxes. It's like for most of you guys, this is going to help you build your agent attraction. For most of you guys, it's going to help you be able to run an efficient business, right? So think big and get big. We got I'm going to ask.
One more thing, go. Guys, this is why it gets easier as you build your team too. Gil didn't hit on this, and I know it is. You guys said, well, Gil bet me whatever. A couple of years ago, he had 10 people, and now he has 35. You know why it gets easier? 10 is about the magical number. Once you get to about 10 people in your team and you work real hard to get those 10 people, you could do it maybe with 5, but at least 10 was my magical number. When people start seeing your success and all this stuff, doing transaction with your team members, now your recruiting gets a lot easier. They see your team having fun. They see all the things they're getting. I don't have a full-time recruiter. I don't have to have one. I have a whole team of recruiters.
Right.
We are constantly onboarding people. We just brought on another 6. It's because of the team. And as you scale your team bigger, right? Imagine having a 100-man team. It's just going to get easier and easier and easier. Everything's scalable. And that's why I love what I do with the team.
All right. So Patty says something I disagree with, right? So Patty says it's just about getting the right people to apply.
Oh, that will take you forever. It will take you forever if you think that. Yeah. Listen, guys, 80-20 rule. Write it down. Love it. I will tell you everything in my business, everything on my team is the exact same 80-20. However, that's not true. Last year, I had 13 people make over 100,000. Called it a 100K club. Well, that was actually 35% of my team. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. But let's just do 80-20. So for every 10 people that you recruit for your team, only 2 are going to make it. All right. Only 2 are going to make it. And I can't tell you if they're going to be an A or a B. Won't be a C, but an A or a B. Like, I can't tell you which one they're going to be. But if you take that, right, and you start doing that rule, that's why my team's like, why are we getting so big? Why are we adding more people? Right? You have to justify and tell them all the extra stuff they're going to get because we're getting more people. But also just remember to let them know, guys, don't worry about it. You guys already know the 80-20 rule. I teach my team that. I go, you guys already know for every 10 people we bring on, only 2 are going to make it. The rest will deselect and be on their own way, right? And then once you start getting to that 15-20, all you're doing is you're top grading, right? You're holding a little bit more accountable, not hanging on to the people who are just hanging out, doing nothing. And you start getting rid of those and you start going a little bit higher. I promise you get to 10 people, it gets a lot easier. You're going to have leaders step up within your team. They're going to ask for more responsibility. They're going to want to do it. Why do you guys think I do these team things within the team? These are guys. I have a guy right now that's like, I kind of really want to build a team one day. Well, show me how you can run a team, manage a team, lead this team. And he's doing the worst. I'm like, whatever you do, don't go build a team. You will fail. He's like, oh man. I'm like, no, you will fail. You can't even lead this team.
I always tell people, like, do it on my dime. You want to start recruiting some people on my dime? Do it on my dime. I'll help you, right? Because people make it sound like people think that it's easy. They see what you're doing. They're like, well, they don't see all the stuff that are happening behind the scenes, or how intentional you and I are about having a vision and executing on that vision. How much time do you spend? I mean, you're pretty much a full-time team leader, right? You're not doing any deals on your own, right? Yep. And outside of that, maybe you're doing some recruiting, right? How much time do you put just running your team?
I'm a little bit different. See, guys, I love this. I love that, like, doing this. So I'm just always here. Remember when I talked about the team, family? Like, I did change my last name, right? I don't talk to my parents. Like, these guys are my family. And so like, I wake up, enjoy going to the office. Like, I enjoy being here and being around them. Also, if you can't tell by my humor, I beat down my team pretty good in good humor, and then I build them up, right? But it's all in jest and it's a lot of fun. It is really a family thing. So I'm not going to be the normal guy go, oh, I spend 4 hours a week and that's it, right? I go home and I still work, and I'm looking for more ideas, more value. That's all I do. I just try to get more value. I share with the team. Workplace chat, guys. I will tell you, one of my most valuable tools is workplace chat. As you grow your team, and we're talking about it's going to be harder. Nope. I barely chime into the workplace chat. I watch it, I view it, but you'll actually see your leaders step up within the chat. If people have questions, they need help, right? I sometimes chime in like a graphic or something like, what do you guys think about this? Would this help you guys do whatever? We love it. We love it. And then I shoot it to the social media girl. I'm like, cool. Rip this off, duplicate it, change it with our logo stuff, make it ours, So rip off and duplicate, guys. That's the easiest thing you guys can do, always do. I take a lot of stuff and just make it our team stuff. Make it a little bit better, right?
All right. One thing I like to do at the end of these calls too is kind of go through some aha moments to show to kind of just show some love to our volunteer of the month. If there was one thing that was kind of aha moment for you, what was it? Start with you, Danny. Danny Pena.
So,
You would pick on me, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I would say top grading, always keeping top agents, not necessarily removing the bottom agents, but always making sure that you're taking care of the best of the best. And then I do like the contests, like the Cabo trips. You have that tier basically. I know you said if they make 100K, they get to go. If they make 150, they can bring a guest. And then I came in kind of late to the meeting, but I jumped right in when you guys were talking about the culture. And I think that's something that I'm always kind of confused about, but I really need to work on. I think that's
Why are you
something
confused? What confuses you?
I just don't really know how to create a culture. I feel like, like for me, I feel like, in Orlando, we have so many people, we have a great group. Like, my goal now is to just plug them into the group that's already there and have them experience the culture and plug myself in, because I've been with the XP now for 2.5 years. I haven't really been plugged into the culture like that we have here, which is a huge group. So, based on, like Gil's office, for example, I want to plug people more into that office and just experience that and have them experience that.
Well, the one thing I'll tell you then to help you not be confused, and anybody else, by the way, guys, when you're starting to build your culture, the first thing you need to figure out is what do you want your core values to be?
Right.
It's easy to say, but you can go find all types of team core values out there. Figure out what speaks to you and what you want with your core values, and that's how you build around it. So that when when you're presenting your core values, which my CEO was like, just in case you forgot, I was like, no, I know what they are. I like them. I love them. Right. There's a lot of really cool stuff on mine. Mine's like integrity. My other one's a mindset of abundance. Like I'll crucify someone on my team that goes, oh, they took that lead from me. Now, screw you. We have 18,000. Go get another one. Right. Self-responsibility. I can't stand when people want to pawn off something else. Right. Listen, you screwed up. Take the responsibility. Is it a training issue or is it something that you didn't want to do? Right. That's how I always view things. Right. Take that self-responsibility. Fix it. Let's move forward. Service, we always say just not service to our clients, but to our team members. And then our last one is just resilience. Like, we're going to have shitty days. We're going to get beat down. But are you the type that is always me and you stay down, or you get up and keep on going? Right. I have a big saying for my team. Listen, everything happens for a reason. It is what it is. Move on. And you'll reflect back in a month or two and be like, damn, if that didn't happen to me, I wouldn't have got this $10 million deal. That's true. Right. So it's just, you just move on, but build your core values, and then that's how you're gonna build your team around those things. And when they're not, if you have someone on your team and they don't match those things, especially integrity, something like that, you just let them go. Nothing's better than when you let someone go because of core values. By the way, guys, when someone leaves my team for whatever reason, I don't care what reason it is, my next team meeting, which is always on Tuesdays, I always tell them why they left. Right? Love the person, nothing wrong with them. They wanted to go solo. They're still staying with EXP. Or
That's funny. I never talk about somebody who leaves.
Oh, I always do. I don't want to hear.
I don't even know if anybody even knows. Like the only way they would know it is they just get removed from the chat. We never talk about it. Here's my culture. We only talk about wins. So in my culture, if you guys have been around me, like we talk about blessings and actions, right? I will tell you that wasn't always my culture. My culture used to be like, we play hard, we work hard. There's a lot of different cultures you can build, right? Like work hard, play hard. And we would play hard, like right at the bar, drink fucking for hours, fucking sloth. But that was what the team that I had at that time was looking for. And as a result, I hired a lot of drunks. Like that's who kind of like we were. We were like, we fucking work our asses off and go drinking, right? Maybe your culture is like, you're building a culture of people who are family-like, who have balance in life. And like, that's the core thing you talk about a lot. Your culture should be something that's important to you, right? Maybe your culture is like, hey, we're going to do a lot of video, right? We're going to be rock stars of video. All of us are, 100 million subscribers on YouTube. Like, well, your culture is whatever is important to you, but just be consistent of that, because you can find your tribe, right? Your tribe is out there, people who like the things that you do. They're going to look up to you. They're going to be, feel accountable to you, right? So, don't overthink think about what makes you happy and find people that are going to make you happy, like who have that same freaking thing. Maybe like, I think if my wife were to build a team, she'd probably build a team of people that are into like spirituality and manifestation and goals and just getting shit done. That's what's important to her, right? So like it's, you can be unique in this and be you, right? Can we do a couple more shout outs, and then can you shout me out? I will be doing an agent attraction class Monday at HP World for team leaders. Yes, Jen, we can shout you out. I didn't see it was a direct message until too late. Sorry.
It's okay. No, so EXP asked me to do an agent attraction class, and so I'm doing one Monday, and I haven't been marketing it too much, but I thought this was a great opportunity if you're into recruiting and that kind of thing.
You better be as a team leader.
Yeah.
And she's one of the best at it too. So if you're interested in doing some agent attraction, she's as good as it gets. I put her up against anybody.
While I'm here though, Chris, can I ask you a couple really quick questions? Because, I think one of the biggest aha for me is when you said there is 2 people that will make it out of 10 people. That's what I wrote down. And then, about firing people. Like it's hard for me because I'm a big relationship person. And I think a lot of the people on my team, I really genuinely I feel so attached to them, but they're not producing, but I only have a 5-person team, so I don't know why I really haven't really focused on recruiting to my team. I think it's because I've been implementing a lot of systems this past few months, but my question to you really is, how does your offboarding look? Like, is it just a one-on-one conversation that you're having with them, and what is that?
Yeah,
I love this question, Jen. I really do.
Yeah, so here's the deal, Jennifer. So I'm kind of like you. I don't like firing people. I really don't. I genuinely care for every single team member I have. So I leave that to my sales manager, and I let her do it for me because because here's the deal. Someone's going to start crying. Someone's going to start doing something. I'm like, oh, all right, let's come up with a new plan then, right? And I just can't do it. Now, what I can tell you is it's no different than anything else in life. You need to set the expectation for your team. Just remember when I was telling you for this quarter, if you did none last quarter, I want you to understand, and every Tuesday at my team meeting, I'm always the exact same thing. I've said it to every single team. And guess what? We have 3 weeks left now, right?
Yeah.
And yet, still, I'm to be honest with you, when I say it, I'm hoping someone comes to me that day and just deselect, so we don't have to fire them, right? I'm hoping, but yet it hasn't happened. I'm like, are you kidding me? Not yet. Every day. Did anybody send me an email? Something? No. But for our process, it's really easy. It's just we ask them 2 things. Totally understand. Are you leaving EXP or are you staying? Right? If they're leaving, we're like,
I'm very surprised that you don't do your own firing, Chris. I would have taken you. Like, you're such a
I'm a softie, man.
I know, man. That's the thing, is that people misunderstand you all the time. I always tell people, I was like, dude, he's kind of a wuss by heart. He fucking loves people, but he comes off like a bull. Here's the one thing. I'm an expert at pre-firing people, right? So I don't fire anybody. I'm an expert at pre-firing, right? So I talk to people about, hey man, I really want you to achieve this goal. This is what we got to do to get this going on. I was like, can you commit to doing this, blah, blah. And a couple of series of micro commitments that they make. And I asked them, I was like, hey, we made this commitment to me last week. I was like, he goes, listen, he goes, I'll give this another shot. I was like, why don't we do this? Let's give it one more shot. Let's give it to the end of this month, and you let me know how this works out, right? So, and they let me know how it works out, right? So in week 1, week 2, week 3, if I really want to hang them, I don't give them any reminders, right? But if I really want to help them, I just kind of hey man, I really want to see you go. It's 2 days into this. It's let's make this work and blah, blah. But I'm a really good pre-firer. So they kind of fire themselves, because I always say hey, let me know how this is, give me some feedback if this is going to work out or not. Right.
Yep. So that goes back to the setting the stage, right? You're just setting it for them, and they know when it comes. I mean, they do know when it comes, and you just have to let it go. We both agreed to this. Did it happen? No. And then they'll try to give me an excuse. And then I go back to my core values of self-responsibility. I literally have a guy on my team that has a baby due at the end of the month. It's going to be really hard for me to do anything. But you know what? He exemplifies every single one of my core values. He's so shitty that he actually takes the responsibility to say that he's shitty. He's like, dude, I just suck. I'm like, God damn it. And he has his core values hanging right by his desk so he can read them. And you're like, but you're like, I probably won't get rid of the guy. He's in my first line. He does a deal every 180 days. So I'm like, whatever. He's a qualifier for me. So I'm like, all right. This guy's
How long do you give something a shot before you quit? Before you're like, okay, because you were talking about systems in the beginning. How long do you give a new system a shot before you're like, nah, this is not working?
Okay, so let me give you guys something super valuable as team leaders. Gil, I'm not sure if you're sure that I know you heard me say it before in a mastermind. I typically will give something depending on how much it costs and what it is. But guys, here's the deal. I pretty much cancel my business credit card, my debit card every 3 months. Every 3 months I cancel it. And then I have all the vendors try to call me. Hey, your card we need a new one. I'm like, yeah, your shit didn't work. Sorry. Right. Next guy. No, your shit didn't work. Oh, yeah, here you go. Follow up, boss. You get my card. Like I plug all the back in for the stuff that works. So it's a great way, one, not keeping your card away out there with everybody. And then it's a great way just to manage your money and go, because there's too many shiny things we buy. And then you get those monthly over and over charges. And you're like, oh man, I meant to cancel that. Right.
Yep.
And so I cancel my card literally every 3 months. You know,
I don't do it that often, but I do subscribe to that. I do cancel my corporate, my account every 6 months or 7 months just to kind of fresh start myself, because like, it's amazing how many things you signed up sometimes by without some free trial, some shit like that. And 6 months later, you forgot you even had that freaking tool. And I think that realtors in general, but team leaders especially, like we're like, oh, here's my credit card to solve the problem. And it doesn't solve the problem. You have to make a change in what you're doing, right? But you're willing, we're such risk, we're risk averse, and we're kind of like not risk averse, we're so risk tolerant, I should say. And we believe in ourselves, we're entrepreneurs, but you got to gut check yourself and cancel your card every 6 months.
Remember, don't let anybody ever threaten you. They don't have your birthday. They don't have your social security number. They can't turn you into collections. You're like, your shit didn't work. Sorry. Next. You know what I mean? Like, it's done. It's over with. So anyways, it's hard on each system. It's going to be a little bit different. It's what your pain tolerance is for money. I will tell you this, guys, every new program I do start, I coined the term special program. I don't think it is, but I only give it to my top guys. I give it to my closers. I give it to my guys. I'm like, test this. You're going to beta test this and tell me if this is any good. So I only give it to my top guys. That way I know it's going to work, right? If it works for them, then it'll work for everybody else. It makes sense. So like it's street text. I have a separate workplace chat for them. You guys, if you guys are not utilizing workplace chat enough, right? It's free, just to let you know. And I make small group for my street text group. So it goes into my follow-up boss, goes into CRM, but they're all fighting, right? You're basically putting a competition for all of them. Whoever can track down that information first gets it. So they're always chiming in. Hey, I talked to this person. I've already moved it from follow-up boss. I got it, right? Another one, and then they're poking fun at each other. Hey, this lady wants to sell 2 houses. I got it before you guys. So it's fun, right? So all my new programs, I only put my top people in it. So
all right, guys.
Wait, I have one more question since you use follow-up boss. Well, how do you distribute your leads to your team? Like, do you have them on shifts? Do you do the claim feature where they all have to claim the lead?
Yeah.
And then like, how do they go into the pond from there? Like, how do you distribute to the pond?
So I hate all of what follow-up boss. I do love sync system, which I'm talking to the CEO of Dan next 2 weeks. There's a mastermind that I'm going to with them, and they're going to change it. But as of right now, we basically just have first to claim. Then that person that claims it gets 24 hours. If not, then it goes into our unclaimed lead pond system.
Did you say you were talking to who?
Dan. He's the CEO for Follow Boss. Corcoran, whatever he is.
Okay, I thought it was a different name.
He's an Australian dude. He's like 35, Australian dude. I've told him to change his changes and he hasn't done it, but we're all going to be meeting in San Diego in 2 weeks. Jeff Cook's going. And so I'm going to school him. I actually schooled this guy today. I'm going to make this nice email. I'm going to send it every single week until I can get a pond system like Sync.
Yeah. Good luck.
Okay.
Oh, it will happen. Watch me.
Good luck.
I already told him. Well, yeah, I will get it done.
Good. All right, guys. I want to be respectful for everybody. Is it value for us to do this again next month? Yeah. All right. So we'll do it once a month. Good. Bobby, you trying to say something? We're just raising your hand. Yes, valuable. Okay. So we'll do it again next month. It'll come out on the first Thursday of the month at 4 p.m. You know, go out there and build, go out there and recruit, test your shit, put yourself in a position to win. You know, I think there was some really incredible stuff coming out. You know, if your expectation for conversion on Facebook leads or 1%, I agree with that. Google 2%, you can get that up to 3% with some stronger agents over time. Over the longer the lead sits in the platform, you can move that up to closer to 3. And on your portal lead, 7%, you can get that to 12%. Actually, I've got some people on my team doing 12%. You know, narrow down on your keywords, making sure that you're targeting your leads into specific areas where you're not going to have as much competition, and you know that the buyer is farther into the cycle. You know, I strongly believe in, you know, understanding your value proposition, you know, whether it's your lead, my lead, doesn't matter. And, you know, obviously EXP's mantra on that is you have to charge a referral fee on everything. So, you know, making sure that you're going into that model as well. And, you know, always be recruiting. That is the one thing I can tell you, that for teams that make it and don't make it, you can always identify it based on whether they're constantly recruiting. Is there a sign? Is there an advertisement going on all the time? Are you showcasing some of your wins to the public where people are going to say, oh man, I want to be part of you guys, right? And that can never stop. That marketing has to continue all the time, all the time, all the time. One of the coolest, let me give you 5 posts that you guys can do, that maybe 3 posts that you guys can do to kind of showcase your team. Number 1 post is let people know let people know. Do a video of you scrolling through your leads, right? The whole too many leads, you know, I've got opportunities, right? We're crushing it. Showcase one of your agents that are on your team, right? Number 2, showcase the magical moments that you're having with your team. You guys having a team dinner, you're doing a barbecue, you're going out for, you know, to Top Golf or something like that. Leverage your vendors too. I mean, they're always looking to have quality time with your team. I know that, you know, most of you guys use Celebration Title in our market, or you have a lender or a title company, you guys can leverage their Top Golf, like an ADT software person. Most of them have some kind of cool venue or club that they can bring your people out there. Leverage your magical moments, right? And I would say, you know, one thing I would tell you that I'm always attracted to is growth, right? Show people where they're at when they got to your team, and show where they're at now, and really make it about them, right? Make it about them and how you want to do that for other people. Showcase wins, showcase wins, showcase wins. There's nothing sexier than winning. Okay.
Hey, and let me add this.
And by the way, you do that all the time. I love.
I know. Yeah, and that's why I want to tell these guys this. Guys, feel free to add me on Facebook, or just don't add me. Take all my stuff. You guys can rip off and duplicate all my stuff. We recruit so much because of our social media, and we put so much love on your agents. So once again, that's giving value. Your team members feel love, right? Every time they have an amazing post, like I do my top 10, I do listing specials, I do all these things. They're all done in Canva. Rip them off, duplicate them. I'm totally cool with that. But the one thing I don't do, Gil, I don't do that one, which I like, is the growth. So I need to do start doing some random growth stuff. That, hey, from last year you're 1,000% better or whatever. So
yeah, and the cool thing about it is when you have growth, it's usually these big percentages. Imagine somebody comes to your team and they did, you know, 7 deals a year before, and they did 15 deals, or they do 3 deals and they do 19 deals. That growth percentage is super freaking sexy. We do that every year as far as an office, but we don't do that enough as a team. So it's very easy to do. You just divide the 2 numbers, and quarter over quarter numbers allow you to do it more often. So, you know, make sure that you're out there, you know, showcasing your wins. All right, guys, be well. I hope to see some of you guys in the beaches of Mexico soon. If not, I'll see you when I see you.
all right.